sets a tone for the audience.
Excellent. So good afternoon. My name is Kevin Marks. I'm a part of the Pitney Bowes team, and I lead the global production print business. To my right is an important member of our cast today. In fact, in the middle we put the real brains of the panel, our clients. And so I'll hand the mic in just a moment to Tony, and then to Krista, and then Eddie with my colleague at Pitney Bowes. So let me begin by introducing Tony and ask him to share with the group what you do and the company you represent.
Hi, my name's Tony Vanderkolk. I'm the Director of Print Operations at IDS.com in Madison Heights.
I am Krista Fisher. I'm our Director of Marketing at L&D Mailmasters in New Albany, Indiana.
And I'm Eddie Adele. I've got product line responsibility for Pitney Bowes for the insertion business line globally. And yes, I'm French. Sorry.
It's okay, we forgive you. So the theme of our panel today is growth made easy. So my question, Pitney Bowes is talking about these 4 capability areas that are important for mid-sized printers and mailers. Why do you think these areas are important to print and mail providers? And what are the 4 areas? Eddie?
Kevin, can I take that one?
Oh, I'm sorry. Kevin.
So let's begin with the impact on client. So here's what we continue to observe, and Print 17 is a good representation as any other setting across the globe. So we're continuing to hear clients, independent of whether they're the in-house operation or alternately a for-profit service bureau or transaction bureau. But the demands continue to be consistent yet discrete. Consistently, these clients are being challenged either from a regulatory perspective, one example, or from a perspective of an in-house mailer's, the requirement to help their end users be successful. So the ever-pressing demands of the regulatory environment, end user demands to produce a more effective, more targeted, relevant communication at a lower cost to manufacture. So we're watching our clients have to deliver more jobs per day that are specific, tailored, and relevant. Once upon a time, it would be enough for a client to deliver one run of many. Now that same job requires many jobs per day of shorter numbers. And that same job needs to be produced in an ever-compressing service level agreement. If you're an in-house operation, you're faced with the challenge of competing effectively for that work to support your internal clients, or ultimately facing outsourcing pressure. And if it does go outsourced to that service provider, that same provider, like Tony and also Krista's business, they have to meet the requirements of both their end user and their client's client, as well as maintain the magic word of M, which is margin and profitability. So these are the pressures we're watching that the mid-sized service bureaus or in-house operations must deal with every day, and our job as a company is to help support them. Eddie?
Yeah. It's a very broad question here, but the operation, so the way Pitney Bowes help our client with the operational efficiency is through innovation. So we're trying to innovate. You're going to talk about your experience with some of the recent innovation we've done over the past 2 years that we've deployed at both of their location. I think I'm going to repeat what I said yesterday, I think, but the innovation is going to be important for the mid-tier service providers. They have smaller runs than the large service bureaus. Efficiency is key and critical, so we need to make sure that the way we engineer the product and the way we deploy the solution in this market allow them to quickly respond to a very demand, even if it's a very small job. So running very efficiently 200 envelopes, for example, job, or 2,000 or 20,000 takes different solution. And the way we engineer our product, we want to allow them to be able to use the equipment, on board, take a job, load that, and maybe I didn't explain myself correctly, but just very high efficiency, no matter what, very efficient, no matter how big and how large the runs are. 200 envelopes, 2,000, 20,000, We need to have solutions that are relevant for them and that they can utilize and deploy in a very, very quick manner.
Thanks. So we're very lucky that we have two printers here. You guys call them print customers or your customers, but we call them our peoples. So we always love to hear from our peoples on how the companies that we partner with are helping them and their businesses grow, and also partnering with them, because it's such it is a relationship, and there has to be a trust built and a respect, not just for the products and services that you expect from a company like Pitney Bowes, but the respect for the tools that you're going to need for your business, for the next phase of your business, to help you anticipate what those are. So I'd like to ask Tony, and then we'll get to Krista. What are the key critical business issues for you? What keeps you up at night, and how is Pitney Bowes helping you address that?
Well, with our particular business, we service credit unions primarily. So we have.
Can you guys hear him back there? Yeah? Okay.
Okay. We primarily service credit unions, so everything is very time focused. We have a huge crunch the first week of the month, and downtime is really have been our main killer in the past. Downtime, you just can't make up for it when you've got a 5-day window to try and put out 13 million images. You really don't recover from it, you just try and move on the best you can. So as far as what keeps me up at night the most would be downtime, and this machine, the Jet that we have, and another one coming. Really, we haven't had a bad time with it at all. There's very little downtime. They're very responsive. They do some preventative maintenance before the month, and it really gets us through that crunch with no flaws whatsoever. And the second thing, obviously, is always a primary concern is quality. And the quality that comes off the Jet is second to none that I've seen in the inkjet printing.
Krista.
Sure. Really how we partner with Pitney Bowes is in our operations and inserting department. We look for partners that communicate the same message that we do. We're concerned about our clients, but we're also concerned about the customer experience they're creating for their clients. We're looking at the end customer too, and trying to help them, our clients, create the best communications, the most relevant communications to that end user. So that really, partners well with Pitney Bowes and what they're trying to do with their customers, us. So really, kind of what we think about is, number one, we service the healthcare and financial industries. So we have to have Hippa Compliance. We're SOC 2 Type 2 certified. And so what that means is we have to be able to produce files and make sure that the right letter goes into the right envelope and produce a report for our clients so they can see that and be reassured. And if any issues do come up, we are able to produce that report and help them out of any fines or legal issues they may have. So that's really how we have partnered with Pitney Bowes and their MRDF technology and their inserters. And really, kind of to play off of Eddie's point, is worrying about the large and small jobs and, the ebbs and flows of production, and being able to handle both, if we have a large job come in for a client for a last minute communication to theirs.
Thanks so much. So interesting. Inkjet has come up. It's one of my favorite topics. It's also very misunderstood, as we've learned during these panels. Someone even asked us what was Inkjet. They weren't sure if it was a new area of printing, didn't realize it was part of digital printing. So there's a lot of communication gaps in how the industry is pushing forward, and a lot of times forgets about everybody who's, starting to look around, and, the messaging, the webinars, the education has moved past. And maybe it's because more people are sort of down that sales funnel at that point, so they think that it's more beneficial to pump the money into those people. But there's a lot of people behind, so it's great to have printers on the panel who have made the decision to move to Inkjet, because I think it really clarifies things for people. So first of all, thank you so much for that. And then I want to know why Why did you make the move to digital inkjet, and what the impact was on your business? But also, how did Pitney Bowes play an educational role for you and a resource as far as understanding what the benefits could be for your business? I'll start with Tony, please.
Well, the impact on our business, see, we don't have just a few large customers. We have several hundred smaller customers. So coming from the offset preprint cut sheet going to inkjet virtually eliminated about 90% of our need for warehouse space. It makes us more efficient. You don't get paper jams. You don't have someone designated for inventory, managing that paper, making sure it's in a safe environment for humidity and things like that. So now we're down to about 10% of the warehouse space that we had just for the rolls of paper to feed, and it makes life so much easier. It's twofold, because not only is the rated speed much higher on the inkjet, but you can actually get that rated speed much easier. It's one thing to say a cut sheet can do 10,000 an hour, but if you've got to change out jobs 2 or 3 times and clear 10 jams, that number goes down drastically. With the Accelojet, it just plain runs. You change the roll every couple hours, and you're getting that rated speed.
Krista.
So L&D isn't your typical, I guess, printer. We play some in the offset, but we grew up on data. We have been digital from the very beginning. So we have had inkjet for about 3 years now, with multiple machines now, and we just added another. So really for us, we consider ourselves a direct marketing and statement processing company. No, you're good. And so, the data is just second nature to us. So we're trying to make every communication relevant and dynamic for our customer's customer. We want that information, whether it's an explanation of benefits or it's a new drug list change communication. We want that to be dynamic to each and every customer. So inkjet was just a natural progression for us.
So if I may for 1 second, Tony, you actually brought up something that Jamie and I personally have been waiting for somebody to come here and say, that I have a lot of small runs. I don't have these million volume runs, and you're actually the first printer that we've heard about, right? That is in this wheelhouse. Any question about that? I know you were looking. How are you defining? Right.
Well, I'd say...
I'm sorry, I just want to repeat the question for everybody. So Jamie wanted to know what constituted a small run, and how many of those small runs equals some sort of volume that he has to have for it to make sense to have this particular inkjet technology.
We do runs as small as 1 piece of paper a day for a daily run, all the way up to maybe a couple 100,000 would be our biggest. We probably average 5,000 to 10,000 as our average run, but the best part about inkjet roll fed is you can just line them up one after the other, don't even stop.
I think you also have to keep in mind the substrate too. So if you are running a lot of transactional print, you're talking your 60-pound paper, you can run that roll, and then a lot of, you have to think about doing the pre-press as well as the finishing. What's going at the beginning and what's going at the end that's going to make sense for your business. We do a lot of roll-to-roll for some of our Pitney Bowes equipment, but we were seeing that we didn't have a lot of flexibility with cut sheet. So we've invested in a cut sheet machine. Sorry, guys. But so, you have to do what's right for your business and what makes sense for your customer's business.
But you actually brought up another great point, which is that the equipment you have has to work with other equipment too. And I'm glad that you're not in just one family. It shows a broader point that Pitney Bowes fits in a workflow.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
and so let's talk about that for a second. How are you integrating those technologies together?
They work really well together. I mean, you think about most of your communications are driven off of a 2D barcode, and you're really reading that. You're producing that within our data department. Then you run it through your laser department, and it goes to our Pitney equipment with the fitting at the beginning and then the finishing equipment towards the end. So they pick amazing partners for the finishing as well as what am I trying to say? The pre-inserting equipment. I'm sorry, I'm in marketing.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
We like real people.
Yeah. Well, what cuts it and gets it ready to be inserted?
Yeah,
The input. Thank you. Goodness.
It's okay. I'm glad you don't
So,
know it.
yeah.
It means you're real. Eddie.
Hi guys, I want to say something. Earlier you said that 3 years ago you made the decision to go inkjet. All right. For you guys, it means she bought a big printer. Yes? Well, it's a little bit more than that. She also bought a printer that print the outer envelope in line. Okay? That's, inkjet is not just in the print shop. Inkjet is, even the sorters has inkjets. Okay? So
Even the what?
the sortation, when
Oh,
you
the
sort
sorter,
mail.
the sorter.
Sorry, that was French
I'm
for
from
the
New York,
sorter.
so I say sorta, and you're saying sort. The two of us should never say that word again. That's all I have to say.
But this is how we help. We have a very good partnership with L&D Mailmasters, and the same with IC. Yes? IDS. I tend to be dyslexic. Sorry. Okay. And the problem the solution we're implementing are really here to help them to do the implementation of a new technology. So L&D Mailmasters was one of the first 5 customers that purchased an Epic, okay? And 2 years ago, when they purchased an Epic, they purchased the Epic with the output. And what this piece of equipment allowed them to do is to be able, Jamie is here, he's the head of production, so he's gonna keep me honest.
Shout out to Jim.
Yay!
And they're able to maintain the efficiency level they have, no matter if it's not very, very small. Jamie would like it, it's very, very small job runs. But if you have a couple of thousand envelopes or 20,000, they're going to have very similar efficiency. And what's interesting, I heard that from Diane, that what she liked with the way they organize their workflow is that at the end of the day is one shift, and they know that they're set up in a way that they will be able to run all their job of the day because they streamline their processes, because they have deployed a workflow that is very, very much the same, no matter if you have small run, large, or very, very large. And that's operation excellence. To deploy that, to have the discipline when you get a job to convert, so that your operation people have no idea that you just onboarded a new client, this is huge. And we are here to help them to develop solutions that will allow them to do that. And Inkjet, at the end of the insert, is an enabler. You print the statement, but now you have the opportunity to put 3-4 jobs either into the same print run, okay, or you just queue them up. But when you queue them up, now you have the opportunity to use the same outer envelope and personalize it.
So you brought up workflow, which is very important because, a lot of things that I hear about Inkjet is that it goes so fast, but you can't finish it because it goes too fast. So what are the considerations that you had to make in your workflow when you decided to bring Inkjet in, and how did it impact your print and mail finishing, excuse me?
Well, with us, we certainly did see that the paper piled up a whole lot faster with the Excellijet, and we actually purchased 2 high-speed inserters from Pitney Bowes to couple with those. So basically, the work comes off of our Pitney Bowes Excellijet, goes right onto the Flowmaster inserters, and the quality of the barcode is fantastic. So it works with the scanner very well. Whereas coming off other printers, you may have some marginal print, and that leads to nightmares in the inserting department. The thing keeps stopping every time you have a bad scan. We really don't see that with the twinned Pitneys.
That's awesome. So there was a problem, and Pitney already had the solution to it. I like that.
And not quite. We
Oh,
worked.
never mind. Thank you, everybody.
But you know, it's a
Say
partnership.
goodbye to Eddie. He'll be giving his resignation letter in this
Well,
afternoon.
but
Better still.
it's
Yes.
it's a partnership. So what happened is that they had a barcode
He was
issue
nice.
last month, for example, where they were struggling reading on our inserter, and they said, "I've got this great barcode that I'm using on your competition. Can you look into integrating this barcode reader in your system?" We said yes. We did it. How is it working? It's working great. And
It's
we're,
working great.
and we're engineering solution, but if someone has a good idea and it solves a problem, we're going to look at it and try to implement it. And this is the kind of partnership we have with our clients. You see two of them here, and we're trying to make that, it's a principle.
Kevin?
And this concept of the barcode is not an accident. So as we've developed a solution, so in our panel and in our business, it is not a surprise that we've purposely asked clients that consider print and mail finishing to be a part of our panel, because we have boldly stated through the industry that Pitney Bowes will assume responsibility and accountability for flawless print and mail operations. So when we develop a printing system, the partner at the table is my good friend, Mr. Adele. I care that our output runs flawlessly on Eddie's category called mail finishing. There is no accident here. And the real world we work in is that other vendors, we have to work with them too. So accuracy, precision across an integrated print and mail operation is not by accident, it's by design, it's our intent, and it's our bold claim to the marketplace. And when we do that well, we help enable a competitive advantage that our clients enjoy versus those that only focus on either print or mail. So it is by design, it's by recipe, it's by intent, and that's how we create value for clients.
So, Krista, let's get back to you. How did moving to color inkjet have an impact on your print and mail finishing workflow? And were you able to see the difference? How long did it take until you noticed that there was some sort of change? And what was that change?
I think moving to Inkjet and our equipment with Pitney Bowes is that you were running, I guess from a physical standpoint, I think about our shop the way that it used to be in our inserting department and how much smaller our footprint got and how much more efficient it became because we're running with, one person versus two people. And, you're using when you're using the same substrate, it's very, very efficient. And then we also were talking about the Print Plus Messenger. We have that on our equipment as well. So we're printing. Can I use one?
Absolutely. Please use these.
So we're using the technology, whereas before,
Can we hand some of those out?
Absolutely.
Jamie, can you grab a few of these and pass them around, please? Thanks so much.
So when you're thinking about doing, some of your envelopes, especially for smaller runs, and
Thank you.
excuse me, thinking about what Tony said about smaller runs is that you're able to use the Print Plus Messenger to be able to print dynamically and create relevant messaging on the outer envelope. So whereas before, if we needed more envelopes, we'd have to go back to the print shop, go back to replate everything and run those envelopes just to finish a job. With our Print Plus Messenger equipment, we're able to do that on the fly, and it's an end-to-end solution, and we're able to get the mail out quickly.
Eddie, anything to add to that?
Yeah, and because we're serving you guys, we realized 3 years ago that the Print Plus Messenger was great, but we could better the workflow. So what we decided to do is to move the Print Plus Messenger to a PDF workflow. So what it means is that you don't need to talk Pitney Bowes anymore. If you talk PDF, you're fine. It's not something that when we engineered the Print Plus, unfortunately or fortunately, we are the first one. So this solution did not exist. All right, and my partner of crime, Mr. Kevin Marks, likes PDF. And if he likes PDF, it must not be something bad. So we looked into how do we make the Print Plus PDF capable, and now this is what we're proposing. And again, it simplifies the implementation of Inkjet, even in the inserter work cell, because now it talks the same language than the big printers.
And it actually is fitting in with the community theme of a need, which is collaboration. They're sick and tired of having different files and different computer languages and different standards and different everything, and PDF is always the right? It's just the easiest one. I mean, Jamie the printer agrees. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the decision-making process that went into buying the piece of equipment that you have from Pitney. There's a lot of inkjet printers on the market. I mean, it's a very topical conversation in these halls. I mean, half these logos on my banner have some sort of offering or participate in that segment. What was your evaluation criteria for choosing the Accelojet? And again, how did Pitney Bowes provide the resources and the education that you needed to help guide you in that decision?
I'm going to let Tony take the question. He has the Accelojet, so.
Yes, well, first of all, there was a common restraint for everybody is size and space, and it fit well into our print room. That was a concern right off the bat. Some of these inkjets take up a ton of room, and this one's actually a good size and very efficient for that size. They steered us in the direction, helping with the job creation, the PDF, as you said. That's very important. That's universal. It's very easy to make it work across the board. And to build on that, we just decided to purchase a second one. That was mainly due to the quality of the printer. We have some customers are pickier than others. We have a lot of graphics, marketing that they want to see right there on the front of the page. And we had to designate a lot of our work to strictly run on the Accelojet only, as opposed to our other platforms. And that has started to create a bottleneck to where the other printers will be sitting open, and we've got all these jobs we need to run here. So that's why we've got a second one on the way.
Do you have a question, Jamie? No? Okay. All right. So to Kevin and Eddie, you've worked with many clients. What would you say are the 5 ways mail and print providers can make their operation out of this world, as long as we're in the printiverse?
All right. PPM is definitely one. The PrintMediaCentr really solved the problem. So by having that in your workflow, you can really achieve nirvana very quickly.
Is that its own software? Does it come with your press? Like, what is that?
So it's an output printer that is in line to our inserter. It talks to Direct Connect, which is our operating system. So it was our solution. This week we're launching the PrintMediaCentr for non-Direct Connect, non-high-end integrity Pitney Bowes solutions. It's a PDF workflow. It can talk to the Flowmaster RS. So I'm going to use some Pitney Bowes terminology here, but it's one of the products that is used in the direct mail, typically to do one page into an envelope, okay? Not personalized. And now this technology can be implemented on a direct mail solution with limited intelligence, and you can personalize the envelope at the job level or piece. You can print off the file, full color at very high speed.
I'm watching Jamie the printer. When he understands, then you're good. He's still not understanding.
Yeah, imagine a non-personalized mail. When you print, it would have been offset or personalized just one page. And you want to personalize the envelope to the content, but that's pretty much the extent of it. It's not a transaction, it's not a very high integrity solution, and it's you print off the file. So you're gonna print everything you see here, and if you want to go wild, now you're gonna be able to eliminate the window. You're gonna be able to fake the window. We can print something that looks like a window envelope.
See, the light bulb goes off.
And when I do when we do engineering, some of the test resource I use is my wife and kids. And if we pass, it's a good first step. And you would be surprised, and you have some of the samples here, if you're not an expert, that technology you will see that, oh, it's a normal envelope. You put your finger on it, and there's no window. Okay? So that's one way to do it. The other way to achieve nirvana in this market space would be data. Data is everything. Data. The power of knowledge. You know, we hear that during the media,
Power of
but
knowledge.
the power of knowledge, and it's impressive. You know, as soon as you have data, all the emotional discussion go away. All right, and now you're at the table talking about solving a problem with data to support that there's a problem. How to solve it is difficult, but the first step is
The first step is always admitting you have a problem.
exactly.
You have to just say, I have a problem.
So we have a
And
software.
then you have to say, help me, Pitney Bowes.
We have a software, Clarity. And Clarity is that. Clarity is the ability to gather the data to help you to make decisions. And it's not so much the decision. The first step is admit you have a problem, decide if that problem is really the problem of the day you want to solve, and Clarity will allow you to do that with Insert, because it's close to my heart, but also with Print, okay? We're working this year on enabling Print, so therefore we're gonna get the data from the Print work cell and be able to merge that with the Insert data. The next step is gonna be the sorter, okay?
The sorta.
All right, the sorter.
Sorta.
And
Perfect.
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 And we're now not limited just, Pitney Bowes is great. I've got my colleague from Bowie Tech over there. And we're gathering the data from competitor gear as well, because I wish that everyone would buy Pitney Bowes equipment, print and insert, but that's not the case. So in order to gather that information, we need to get the data from our system, but also from other gear. So that would be point number 2. I've been long, maybe I'm gonna pass to the
Maybe
other
Kevin
guys.
wants to make a point.
Well, Eddie is so right, because he is. But,
Right.
let's go
Take
back
a
to
breath, my friend.
let's go back to the theme at the Pitney Bowes booth. It is elegant and straightforward. It's growth made easy. So each of the panelists here, and I suspect many folks in Chicago this week for Print 17, are really thinking about how do I grow my business, and whether that means top line both or growth, or alternately expansion of the bottom line. But in order to drive that growth, either top line or bottom line, there are some key ingredients that we demonstrate to clients in our booth here, as well as when they return to their operations. Number 1 is optimize the functions. Clients, the end users that Krista and her partner in crime and the panelist, Tony, represent, they require precision and accuracy. They must maintain the regulatory SOX compliance and HIPAA in order to survive and exist. And to the extent that they can develop tools and processes that support that every single day with full auditability, that's the ante. So our systems need to show this close integration of print to mail. By the way, that's how you start to see these same businesses be able to harness the full power of linking print to mail. This is not an inconsequential job. The content has been produced using Pitney Bowes printing systems. The insertion of that content into the right envelope with the corresponding appropriate logo and message. The cost of failure is high. It's a trip to Sarbanes-Oxley, it's a trip to HIPAA jail, and this is the Wall Street moment that must be produced consistently, accurately each and every time. And that's why when you link to print and integrate print to mail, we can deliver better results. It's also about using the same medium to harness the power of physical and digital. And so perhaps there's a member of our panel here that has a feeling toward Engage One video. Have you expressed any opinion, Deborah, on this?
I love Engage One video.
I think she has formed an opinion. So our statement that we're demonstrating in the booth at Pitney Bowes, and by the way, our clients are producing across the globe today, is really the example of harnessing the power of print and mail. So this statement embedded within is a relevant, tailored communication, harnessing the power of no compromise print quality on our line of production printers, but also we have embedded within, here in this image here, this Engage One video. This Engage One video is designed to help this service provider provide more value for Acme Mobile so that the record associated with this invoice, when the client has a question about this invoice, is two things can happen. They can either delay the payment, and the payment is accounts receivable to Acme, or they say, I won't pay it because I don't know what to do. Through the use of the Engage One video, this QR code-like device embedded and specific to each record that we produce at high rates of speed is an explanation of exactly how this bill is generated, what are the bill amounts for, what's this explanation of the subtotals, and why is this valued to clients, and why is it useful to companies supported by Tony and Krista, is that it says that we can help Acme avoid a call to the call center. At a $25 per average call to a call center to explain the bill, what's the price of this document? You could argue to Acme Mobile, it's priceless. It's not about the cost per unit. It's about the cost avoidance of not having to entertain that phone call. So that's an example of how Pitney Bowes helps clients drive the full value of physical and digital, and in doing so with levels of accuracy and precision across both the statement as well as the envelope. And that's how we wake up in the morning and think about how do we create value for clients, harnessing the power of print and mail.
Jamie has a question. Go ahead, Jamie.
So Jim, we'd like a softball question with you. Jamie.
Okay, we recently have been doing mailings for a customer where we're using a 9x12 envelope because they're putting anywhere between 4 and 8 sheets in there, all variable, 5,000 to 15,000 per month. Would that be something that would work with this type of system, with this barcoding?
Yes.
Because when you said before, one sheet in an envelope,
Good
I was like, just one
answer.
sheet? One sheet? I'm like, we have many sheets.
No,
I'm
yes.
sure the statements are many
Yes.
sheets.
So what we will propose you is either something that's going to go up to 80, okay, or 130. And it's all a function of the mail volume. And but yeah, we are able to do that. And we've been doing that at your place for many years, right? How many pages do you put in maximum into an envelope?
50.
Come visit at our booth and we'll show you.
And we're discounting the equipment when you buy insert and print at the same time. Okay?
It's like peas and carrots. Peas and carrots.
Printer's discount. So, Sandy, you have a question? Okay. Speak loudly, please. Can you just speak loudly? Okay. Are you going to use the mic? Can you use the mic now? You can't. You came over, so use the
Okay.
mic.
All right, here we'll do this. As we move toward personalization at high speeds, what do printers need to know about data integrity, security, safe handling of customer assets, and why is Pitney Bowes a logical choice as a resource for data handling? And two of you touched on that. You talked about Hippa jail, but not everybody knows why you would be a good choice.
Thank
So
you,
some-
Sandra.
Yeah, so a great
Hashtag
question.
Sandyland.
And if that is a softball, we'd like more softballs like that. And so consider today that as an organization, as a company, we are safeguarded with those types of high compliance, regulatory driven customer communications every single day. And our approach is different perhaps than most. We have a chain of custody, a chain of process that considers all the critical moving parts. From the initial stages of document composition, for the stages of postal optimization, for the stages of workflow, and these are the high-level stages, for the stages of release to print, to the stages to mail finishing, to the stages that include admission to the Postal Service, and end-to-end tracking. So our view that says that for clients that wish an total end-to-end process, we are enabled with the full Pitney Bowes end-to-end solution sets to ensure full compliance, auditability to the most complex, sophisticated volumes in the world. Now, whether that be impressions of billions or impressions of one, to that client, whether you're a small business or a large service provider, it's equally important. So we scale both large enterprise level as well as down to one-to-one. Because if I'm a dentist office and my accounts receivable, that's my invoice. This is really my accounts receivable. This is critical to me. Or I'm a top 5 commercial bank in North America or the globe. That's equally important to them. The consequences of failure are equal, but the opportunity for getting it right is required. That's the common thread. So in the spirit of we do that, we've earned the credibility and the right to do that every day. We invite clients to that are seeking a one source of solution, and there's views to look. It's one hand to hug, or ultimately one throat to choke. We're delighted to have those opportunities to be considered for.
Christy, why don't you explain what you've done to make sure that you sleep well at night and you're HIPAA compliant?
Well, I can give you an example of a client came to us and they were possibly going into some litigation about a wrong letter going into an envelope, and we were able to produce a report for them that they were able to take to their lawyers and were able to avoid the litigation, the Hippa police, and so we became their hero at that point, and that's really what you want to be to your client. You always want to be the hero and be able to help them with their operations.
You're my hero just because you beat the Hippa police. That doesn't sound like fun.
No, it's not fun, and we're glad to have, we call that a journal. We have that in all our systems. If you open the door of the insurer, we'll know you opened the door of the insurer. And oh, by the way, statement 1, 2, 3 were reachable. So therefore, if you want to have a high integrity, in a very non-technical term, this is going to be orange or red. Integrity can be at risk. The integrity of the system is compromised unless you trust your operator. But if the operator remove a page, put it back, you will not know it. So if you don't want to go to jail, okay, the jail of HIPAA, you divert all the mail and you reprint.
I do not want to go to the jail of HIPAA.
HIPAA.
I do not
and
want
it's
to go
very
to the
expensive.
jail of HIPAA.
And there's a client, some people went on the front page recently because they had an integrity breach. You don't want to be there, and as a supplier, we don't want to be there either. So we have the ability to provide recommendations on what you can do with the tools we have that you purchased. And if tomorrow you want to run a direct mail application with no integrity, you turn it off, and you're safe.
Well, I want to thank Pitney Bowes so much for spending time with us, and Pitney Bowes customers, of course. I'm sorry. And I really appreciate your time. You guys have shared a lot of information that was very important. It certainly, I saw the light go off in Jamie's head about the quantities. That was very interesting, and the beating the Hippa police gets us a high five. So thank you guys so much, and Pitney Bowes for your continued support. And Kevin, do you want to say any last words?
No, not at all. This is a great venue, and voice of client is what this is about, and one client success at a time. That's what this is all about. So thank you for the opportunity as well. Thank you.
Thank
Tony
you, Tony.
and Krista.
Thank you, Krista. And we will be back. We're actually not going to be live during Print Chat. We'll be chatting live. So that'll start it at 3 o'clock Central Time, which is in 10 minutes, or 4 o'clock Eastern Time, if I'm doing my math correctly. And if you want to come Print Chat with us in the booth, come in the booth. Or if you're back there, time to log into Print Chat. And Sandy Hubbard, Print Chat moderator, is here, and we're going to talk about the show. What you're hearing out there, what you're hearing on the floor, what you've learned, if you're going to stay and chat with us. I'm not sure if you got a plane. But again, Pitney Bowes, thank you so much, and thank you for your generosity and your support over the years.